What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Scale It podcast. Today we have Annya Holston. She is the voice, energy, and commanding presence behind more than a decade of South Florida's premier events. She built Events by Annya from scratch in 2013 into a sought-after wedding officiating, emceeing, and professional hosting business, officiating over 500 weddings, and after 26 years of high-level corporate experience, partnering with CEOs and C-suite executives. Now, she's scaling that into her next chapter, the Annya Experience, which includes professional speaking, corporate panel hosting, community leadership. We're going to talk about a bunch of things, including entrepreneurship, leadership, and how to build a business based on referrals that keep on giving. So let's hop in. Annya, it's great to have you on. Wanted to kind of jump in first, ask you, kind of give me a background of kind of how you've gotten to where you are at this point,
Yes.
mainly with the officiating and all of that. So kind of walk me through. I know there's an element there of experience with dealing with levels execs and whatnot. So give me an idea of kind of where you started in your career.
Absolutely. My journey's been a really interesting one in terms of just hopping and also trying to understand different dynamics and how they all fit together. And that
Same.
started at the travel industry of all places.
Okay.
I worked in the cruise line. I won't say which because it's a South Florida based line,
Got you.
but I worked there for 12 years and I was the assistant to the vice president over Latin America and the port operations team. So working with these two super amazing individuals that were super knowledgeable, I learned a lot about the processes of both the Latin market and then at the same time also just in general people relations. A lot of things that people don't realize is that the cruise industry is heavily based on relationships because if they don't like you, you're not coming to their country and you're not bringing your big giant ship that will probably cause pollution and so on and so
It's
forth.
like that.
It's like
Just
that.
like that. Wow.
It's a very, very interesting
Almost political.
industry. Yeah,
Yeah.
very political, very,
Yeah.
very handshake driven.
Wow.
So I learned a lot in that space that I didn't know. Here I am, umpteen years later, was going to carry me into where I am now. And those relationship building skills eventually led to talking to people, feeling comfortable with the people from different backgrounds, also understanding just the diversity elements that need to be respected for different cultures as well.
Right.
Because you're dealing with people from all over the world.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, let it be known that that's a very volatile market. So you could easily be living great, and then there's an issue with the balloon bubble or some kind of change in the environment when it comes to finances.
Yeah.
And you're getting laid off because the
Wow.
first thing people don't want to do is travel when their scarcity is coming at them for money.
Right.
So when that occurred, I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I was, mid-20s.
Put us in the year. This was.
This was in 2012 when I left.
Okay. Because I was initially, you mentioned that, I was thinking COVID. So this
Yeah,
was even before
no,
that,
this
though.
is
Okay. So
even
this is
before that.
interesting. Okay.
So
Okay.
a lot of our viewers might be like infants
Yeah.
or children
Yeah, right,
during
right.
that time.
Yeah,
But yeah, we're talking 2012.
Okay.
You might have heard references about the 2008
Yeah,
bubble burst,
that
and
recession.
we talk
Yeah,
about it
yeah.
all the time.
Right.
So
the housing market.
this is just the caveat of that.
I see. It was,
And people were like, hey, we're still recovering. We're still trying to get our finances right. And right now is not the time I'm thinking about going on a cruise. So there was a massive downscaling and I was left with, okay, what do I do with my life? I've worked here for 12 years. This has been my everything. But I've always thrown one heck of a party. And by being able to throw such great parties and enjoy it, I had one daughter at the time. And I just fully got immersed in details. I've always been obsessed with the details, the experience, the details. What are people going to walk away with? What's the feeling that they're going to have when they walk into a space? And people were like, you should really do this. Like, you hear that a lot. I always tell friends, if you're hearing that a lot about anything, pay attention. And they were like, you should really look into like party planning. I think you would be amazing. And you love logistics and you love details. Why not? I'm like, well, I lost my job and I have a fantastic, opportunity to reset and reprogram myself. Let's do it. So I like luxury and I jumped into wedding planning of all things. And when I jumped into wedding planning was because I had been a newlywed myself just a few years prior. And I had one heck of an experience because I decided to take on everything by myself.
I was about to ask. So
Yeah,
you
I
planned
planned
your own.
everything, everything. I was a budget bride. I was a DIYer, all that stuff.
I love it. I love
And
it.
it's so costly. I mean,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we're talking back then. Now it's outrageous.
Right.
But it's such a costly event, but the experience is also one of those that like you're gonna look back on with hopefully your grandkids and the future extension of your family as you get older. So you want it to be a nice one. You want that big portrait that you see in the movies of mom and dad in the living room. And so people are willing to pay for that experience to have that memory,
Right.
So I don't knock it. I get it. But having been in my shoes of being that bride that's supposed to be, you see the stories of the girl that's getting her hair done, her makeup done. She's having a great time. And she's enjoying the day. That was not me. I was the bride that was freaking out because people are texting me like, where do I park? Where does the caterer go when he comes in? Is it the back door? Is it the back blue door or the green door?
While you yourself are
But I'm
going
like,
through.
I'm trying to focus on, building a life together with the man of my dreams, but here I am focused on where you're gonna park.
Yeah, right. And where's the caterer and what is this? Yeah, wow.
So that was an impression that will never leave leave me. And when I see my clients or saw my clients dealing with those issues, I was like, I've been there, and I don't wish that on anybody. That's such an ugly way to start because that's all you remember.
Right. Yeah, the stress of it.
So I was like, I'm going to be that wedding planner that's going to make sure that my bride actually enjoys their day. They're able to kick back, relax, and like enjoy the experience.
Nice.
I'm big on experience.
I love that.
And so that's how Events by Annya was born. Funny story, which I think as an entrepreneur-based podcast, this is one that I always mention to all my newbie friends.
Yeah.
Trademark your stuff.
Really?
Register your stuff.
Yeah.
My business didn't start off as Events by Annya LLC. My business actually started off as Love Struck Events. And someone was like, what a cool name. She didn't trademark it. Oof. Let's open up a business under that same name and try to sue her for it and take it from her. So my business originally started as Love Struck Events. And then
you just kind of had to surrender.
I had to surrender it. So it's
it's
like giving your baby away.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So please, guys, if there's anything you take away from this,
especially
protect
stuff like
your
that.
brand.
Branding when you start leaning into stuff like that, it's unique kind of. Yeah, that's a really good cautionary tale.
Yeah.
So that was kind of how you got into it, and as you developed it, what are some experiences? How did that look as you progressed through the years?
The biggest piece was how important the ceremony is and how overlooked it is. And I find that, majority of like pastors or priests or notaries, whomever you desire to choose to run with that piece of the day, is typically just reading a script that they read for 500 other people before. And I'm like, that's not right. Like, this is something that is unique to this couple. This is where it all begins. I always tell my clients, if you're having a wedding without the ceremony, you're just having a party. That's what it boils down to. It's just a really expensive party.
Yeah.
So the wedding is the element that should be focused on.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of people treat it as a cookie cutter experience. I was like, that's not right. So I was like, I think I could do a better job at this. So I had a couple of experiences where people were either stood up or their person of choice came in late. I love the ones that pick family members. You have situations where people are like, oh, my family member is going to be the one to marry us. They know us really well, and the family member can't string two words together because
I can't get through it.
That.
Yeah. It's like trying to move along too.
Come on, they're crying. They're because they're so emotionally involved,
right.
So I'm like, let me take all of I learned through mistakes of others, and I've watched and I analyzed like all the things that I saw in the ceremony market that I just felt weren't up to par, and I'm like, I'm gonna fix this, and I'm gonna make something that's gonna be unique, cater to the couple, and an experience that they're not gonna ever forget, but also that the audience is never gonna forget.
Right.
And that's how my brand evolved to what it is now, which is basically an entire set based on the couple. So I customize every single ceremony that I work on. I find out ahead of time their quirks, the funny stories, the maybe sad stories. I've had people tell me we met on Tinder. Like, I mean, it is what it is. Whatever they're comfortable sharing,
Right.
I'm gonna bring that aura to the ceremony.
Cool.
And they're smiling, they're having a good time, because who doesn't love hearing about themselves?
Right.
And at the same time, it's something that's familiar to them. And the audience can relate to that because that's their closest people. So their closest people have probably either been in the room when some of these things happened, or
Right.
they've more than heard about it.
Yeah.
So people are like, oh yeah, I do remember when that occurred. I do remember when they went on their first date and she told me, wow, he's cute, you know?
Yeah.
And you really create an experience that sparks conversation. And that's what I wanted out of officiating.
Nice.
So officiating turned into, well, Annya, you really get us. Do you think you can MC our wedding as well? I'd love to have you introduce my dance with my mom, or my dance with my dad, or, you know, a special treat that I'm doing for my fiance, et cetera, et cetera. Because at that point, you've created a bond with that client. I'm like, absolutely. Yes, totally. And the level of charisma, like, you have weddings that people want to be just straight comedians. You have weddings that people want to be very
More
formal,
serious,
very religious, or
Sure.
so. And I know this already because I've dealt with them on the key piece of it all. So I'll just translate that same energy to the reception.
Right.
And that way everything flows and everything matches.
I see.
So that boutique experience is definitely what I feel sets us apart, and
Yeah.
at the same time creates an experience that people are like, I've never seen anybody do that before.
Right. And you have like a USP that way. What I love so far, just kind of talking about it, is you've been able to kind of build out from your initial business based off of like your strength, which is what you started on. You know, you kind of open it based on that. But also, as you've gotten more of that experience, seeing kind of the ins and outs, the quirks, kind of optimize it, and you've spun off some additional services that they're already coming to you
Exactly.
anyway, right? So you're building this kind of stickiness with the customer that, you know, they're going to stay with you for that. Talk to me a little bit about how you've approached networking, because that's, I'm imagining, huge segment of your business is like referrals, and like kind of walk me through how you approach that in the beginning, how it's evolved, you know, how much is it helping you now, like years on? Talk a little bit about that.
Here's an interesting fact that I think a lot of people might disagree with, but it works for me. And I'll tell you why. When it comes to networking, I don't recommend spending and spinning your wheels on going to, like, let's say the mingle or the mixer with the beers and the people that are in the industry. I mean, that'll get you to look cool.
Yeah. It'll be a good time.
A good time. That'll get you to look cool. That'll get people to recognize your name, maybe. Be like, oh, I've met that person before. I know who Annya is. I've seen her at a few things. But that's not going to make the phone ring, and that's not going to be allowing you to be the resource for your clients, because your clients are not at these things. Your clients are stressing at home, trying to figure out, Googling, TikToking, what's their next move going to be. So to me, networking has not been my forte. What has been my forte has been getting with the venues. So I go to the source. And instead of meeting the actual people that are in the industry, you do what I do. I don't want to, I mean.
It doesn't really help
It doesn't help me.
Yeah,
we're not going to help each other.
Right.
What's going to help, is going to be to get to where the people that need my help are.
Yes.
And that's where they are. They're at the venues. They want to know, what place is the place to go. They're meeting with the owners. They're doing site visits. They're at bakeries.
Right.
They're understanding, like, oh, what is my wedding cake going to look like?
Yes.
Let me meet you where you are. So that's super important, I think, for just any business model. Like, don't focus on where everybody else is doing. Focus on what's your client doing.
Yeah, man, that's so true. So, and your approach with that is you're getting in with those different suppliers or vendors.
Yeah.
And there it's a natural referral.
Absolutely.
That's really smart. So, nice. So, how do you kind of approach that for, I guess, don't give away too much sauce. Don't give away too much sauce. But, how's the approach in terms of, what made you kind of lead or discover what you needed to be doing, like where you needed to target?
Gotcha.
What was your thought process?
For me, it was trust. One of the main things, going back to that experience as being the bride that was like, help me, somebody. I would have loved someone that I can trust, whether it be a vendor or a friend or whomever, but even a vendor that showed that extra interest and that extra, sense of care for my event, I would have definitely been like, I'm open for help. I just need someone who actually wants to help. So I look at my clients that way. I look at them as a point of view that they are looking for someone to be a resource for them, but they need that person that is willing to go look for them.
Right.
Because they don't know where to look. A lot of my brides or a lot of my grooms are first time wedding,
Right.
and they've never planned the wedding before. They don't know where you find a planner. How do you know if it's a good planner? This is all brand new to them.
Right.
So looking at it through that lens has been really important. And I think that applies to just about any business. Keeping in mind that, what the experience that they're having and how can you be a solution for that?
Right. How do you like social? Like, you do a lot of social media marketing?
I do, unfortunately.
But yeah, no one likes to do it. But I mean, this will be social media content and whatnot. But yeah, it is what it is.
A necessity.
You got to do it. So you do it as well. What do you focus on most? Like, what have you found?
Yeah.
What platforms are you using these days?
I'm using Instagram a lot. So I pay attention to age brackets.
And
that has been, centrifugal force for my business. Like, when Facebook was at its hype, I remember a lot of people being, Instagram is the new thing. Instagram is where you want to be. And I'm like, I don't get any money from Instagram. My ROI is coming from Facebook. And the reason being is because...
This is like before Facebook acquired Instagram, right? Yeah, okay, so this is like literally, okay.
Yeah. And just like right now, the hype is all TikTok.
Right.
I get nothing from TikTok. TikTok is good, just content to educate the public. But in terms of being able to actually reach out and help my clients, I can't do anything for you through TikTok, or very little. Now, majority of my market now has transitioned to Instagram, so that's where I put most of my focus. But majority of my focus is typically based on age base, because the average couple is getting married within the late 20s era to probably late 30s era, somewhere in that margin. And that's where they're concentrating most of their time. So I have to, once again, meet them where they are.
Yeah.
And they're there. They're not on TikTok. TikTok is more for a younger generation, primarily, that's looking for services there. And they're not looking for wedding services majority of the time.
Right.
Maybe tips.
Yeah.
But people who are actually looking for solutions, which I consider myself a solution-based service.
Right.
Yeah, that's where I want to be.
And so talk to me a little bit about, as well, as you've gone through these different iterations, how do you present that, like, in terms of rebranding? Have you just kind of slowly trickled in these services? You just let the customer know, hey, I also do this? Is it all at once? Like, how does it evolve for you?
It's been so weird.
Yeah.
Like the wedding officiating situation.
Right.
I was like, oh, that'd be cool one day, but it wasn't something that was my initial target. My target was always to be a planner.
Yeah.
And then as a planner, you're dealing with couples on average about 12 months. Sometimes up to 18 months in advance. I call myself, I'm their bestie by the time the process is over. I know abuela.
For sure.
I know who's got a rivalry with so-and-so. Don't sit this lady next to that lady. I know all of the ins and outs and quirks. But at the same time, that trust factor is what makes it an easy transition to be their wedding officiant, because I know all the details about, the quirks that maybe someone who doesn't know them just as a standard vendor would not know.
Yeah.
So that's when the first opportunity came about. We're like, we want you to marry us. And I'm like, I didn't get into this for this, but sure, why not? Let's give it a shot.
Right.
They're like, we love, your speaking style. You get us. You've known us for like a year. I mean, I'm very good friends with a lot of my clients.
And you stay in touch with them.
Yes.
Still. I imagine referrals from...
A lot.
That's the gift that keeps on giving from there, right?
85% of my clients are referrals, whether it be from past clients or whether it be from venues. So a lot of times I'll go do a job for a client. Actually, pretty much all the venues that I work with, I come to think of it, they're all that way. I've gone to do officiate a ceremony at a venue. And it's because the client found me, let's say, per Instagram. They found me there. They're like, I'm getting married at the Hilton on the beach. and I'll go and I'll do their ceremony. And in the background, there's the manager or the director of services, and it's like, wow, I really like the way you did that. Can I send you more clients?
Damn.
And then I nurture that relationship.
Right.
And then it feeds itself. It's
Right.
not something that I have to like chase. It just happens organically.
Right.
So
Once you do it right the first
once you
time,
do it right,
you know, all you have to do is do it. Yeah. Hold
That's
that
exactly
standard.
right.
I love it. I love it. So kind of segueing,
Yeah.
I wanted to know as well now. So this is a new angle for your new venture
Yeah.
is public speaking,
Uh-huh.
right? So tell me a little bit about that. Naturally, I mean, already you say this is, you were mentioning before we started, it's your first podcast and you're doing
Yes.
fantastic. You know, you're
Thank
very
you.
natural. Yeah, of course, you're very natural. So you are very personable. So tell me a little bit about that. Like what kind of made you now say, okay, well, there's a transfer of skills. So
Yeah.
what kind of made you want to pivot there?
So going back to my roots
Yeah.
in the travel industry, I also spent some time in aviation. I managed teams doing flight attendants and pilot hiring,
Nice.
which is a very interesting model in itself.
Yeah.
But the travel industry has been like my home away from home on and off throughout the years. And I mentioned that because in that space, I met a lot of different cultures, a lot of personalities, and just kind of really leaned in on how to work with people and use those skills to translate into my business. So because of that, that's what started to like create that pivot, because there would be opportunities that I'm like, if someone understood that this is why they do this, or they eat their food with this, function, or do this way, then at that time, then it makes a little more sense. And you can make the event even more personable. So translating into the emceeing and the officiating, I'm always speaking to crowds. I'm always speaking to people in large volumes. And the biggest test of someone being able to be in the speaking space is trying to get people who've had maybe one or two too many shots of tequila.
Sober up. Take a little. Yeah. Yeah. Lock in.
Yes, lock in. Come on, groomsmen, let's do this. It is definitely something that if you can overcome that, you're already on the right track.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, like in those spaces, I've learned so much management of people, and just people and their personalities, and being able to use that to then translate to even larger audiences on the corporate side. So my new business rebrand is functioning more in the space of using the same social skills and the speaking and everything that I've been bringing to wedding audiences, but I want to expand on that and provide it for like community events, provide that also for corporate events, because I've spent so much time in the corporate arena.
Right.
So all of those things kind of like married one another. And I mean, I call myself a multi-hyphenate speaker, and that's primarily because of that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time invested in so many different areas, but they jive. They work really
They
well
work
together.
Yeah. Nice. And so what kind of events apart from those, like you've been doing, so like more like it's more engagement, speaking engagements that they're bringing you on as an MC, but it's just more broad, right?
I'm doing mostly
Yeah.
MC at the current moment. Most recently, actually, I'm really excited about this event. I picked up a city event being the MC to Hispanic Heritage Festival coming up now in the fall.
Nice.
So that's a gig that will definitely be really near and dear to me. I am Hispanic by background.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I am prided on for ceremonies is doing bilingual ceremonies. It's my number one request. And when I say bilingual, I literally mean like a blended. It's not
Like a Spanglish?
Yeah, almost like I've been asked for Spanglish, and I've also been asked for a blend.
Wow.
So the blend is typically what people ask for. They're like, look, everybody in my family speaks English, but we have abuela and abuelo that don't speak, the language. They still speak Spanish, and we want them to feel
Interesting.
included.
That's so
And that's
interesting.
been the marker of my brand.
Yeah.
I really embrace my roots.
I love
so knowing that I have that opportunity and to give back to the community that is in my space is like chef's kiss.
Yeah. That's so cool. I love it. Let me ask you. So talking about this had me thinking, over the years, you've probably had some like rough clients.
Yeah.
I would imagine, because it's stressful.
It
like
is,
the
it
lead up
is.
to it, especially on the planning side, day of especially. But I was wondering, like, you don't have to name anyone.
No,
but,
no.
But any stories come to mind that was like, Bridezilla sort of thing, or like any crazy?
You'd be surprised. I always people ask that a lot if I've had bridezillas,
Yeah.
and I always say, "You're looking at the wrong person. It's momzillas,
Oh.
moms, because mom's
yeah.
got the pocketbook.
Yeah. So they're calling the shots.
They're calling the shots.
Damn,
The
that's
bride
funny.
is the bride,
And
but
I can see that being way more prevalent.
it
You probably
is
have
much more difficult.
Yeah.
So that is a very interesting dynamic and
Yeah.
relationship to manage.
How do you walk that line?
Oh, it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
The hardest piece is being able to navigate how much control do you want. I am very frank with my brides and with my grooms. I'm like, how much control do we want to let mom have?
Yeah.
There's some give and take. If you want to take her money, you got to give her something. And whether that be some of her friends attending, maybe more than you were expecting, or she gets to pick your cake, or what is the
Shit, man.
negotiation?
Damn. Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
the
there's
negotiation.
really an element of that. Wow.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And people are like, okay, well, I want mom's money, but I didn't think that she would want something in return. I'm like, of course she wants something in return. This is her day too. So it is. It's a very interesting space to be in because I'm caught in the middle,
Right.
and a lot of times it's just being the mediator. Okay, bride and groom want this, or the couple wants this, and mom wants to, have XYZ.
Sure.
How much are we going to meet her? Are we going to let her have it all? Or how meaningful is this to you?
Right.
And at that point, they kind of balance it out.
Yeah.
But a lot of times couples don't think about that. They're like,
Right.
oh, great, my parents are going to fork the bill.
Yeah.
And it's like
careful what you wish for. Yeah. Careful what you wish for. That's interesting. That's so funny.
Yeah.
So jumping back to the public speaking and the more broad, I wanted to know what, you've adopted this similar approach in the previous businesses. What are you thinking are these strategic type of referrals that you're going to, or referral partners really that you're going to be targeting for that?
Yeah.
You went more with the venues. Are those still, is that kind of a valid approach, or do you think you have to pivot a little bit?
It's going to be a little bit of a pivot,
Yeah.
same style, but I think the audience will be different. This community event is actually a really great example. So we initiated this communication because we worked together in the event space of weddings before. A colleague that I had worked with many years back and has kind of followed my journey throughout the years, and was like, I see that you're now doing this, and I'm also serving the community space. I think you would be great for this. I've witnessed your ceremonies. She's actually sent me clients. She's a wedding planner, and she's sent me clients of her own to marry that have all been really happy with their ceremonies and has seen firsthand like what I deliver. So though there is going to be a little bit of caveat between the two, but I also feel like that exposure, once I start in the speaking spaces that are not necessarily wedding related, they will also open doors for other avenues.
Right.
It's just the constant cycle.
Yeah.
I don't believe in networking like I was saying.
Yeah.
I call it the anti-networking is my strategy, and I'm happy to share that. I feel that we network every day. You and I having this conversation right now. This is a networking.
Yeah, 100%.
So every day we network, and because we network every day, some people don't need to go into spaces of the unknown to be able to network. You're doing it naturally. You go to the coffee shop, talk to the girl at the coffee shop. You see her every day. You say hi. You probably know her name. You don't know who she knows. You don't know who she's affiliated with. Tell her what you do. And it doesn't necessarily have to be because you're looking for business. It's just use the ties you already have.
Yeah, you're putting it out there. At
Yeah,
least.
and a lot of times people will be like, oh, wow, I didn't know that's what you do, or I didn't know that that's, what you're involved in. Listen, I have XYZ situation, and you just saved yourself a couple of hours of sitting at a mixer that you could be at home with your family or doing something else that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Instead. So one very important piece that I learned from my executives is efficiency and time efficiency. And the time efficiency is huge in the corporate space. And I use that in my business as well, because without being able to pick and choose what's going to give me the best outcomes or what has the possibility of giving me the best outcomes, there's a lot of wasted time. And that wasted time means your clients are not going to get 100%.
Right.
That means your clients maybe are going to be, waiting longer than they need to,
Mm-hmm.
or you might lose an opportunity, and that's just not risk I'm willing to take.
Right.
So I use my time very, very wisely.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and that's actually a angle I will circle back to, is I do want to get your insights and experiences from working with
Yeah.
the C-level. That's definitely what I wanted to ask you about. But before we jump to that, I wanted to know, as you were talking about this, in terms of the anti-networking, I was thinking about it. What are your thoughts on like the networking groups? So not the mixers, just more like those like kind of
Not a fan.
generalist. No, you're not a fan?
Not a fan.
No.
And I'll tell you,
Because I would imagine for event planning at least, and your even the public speaking, the corporate events, I feel like those would potentially be great.
yeah,
But so you're not a fan.
I'm
Tell
not.
me why.
In my experiences with those, so that Miami has a really huge, booming wedding market, which we live where everybody vacations, as they say. So we have a couple of dedicated organizations that's really what they cater to, which is
Right.
the wedding market and wedding vendors. If I were to step into one of those rooms as a networking, efficient, there's like 20 other people doing the exact same thing I do. How do you make yourself stand out? And how do you get to, oh, I already talked to one of you. I already spoke to somebody who does what you do. People just start hearing Charlie Brown after a while.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
become another business card in the
Yeah,
stack.
true.
I mean, in my 26 years of experience, that's what I've experienced.
Right.
However, the only rule that doesn't apply to is chambers of commerce. Now, chambers of commerce actually are benefiting from your success. So they want you to succeed. They want you to use, the tools that they have available to you. People, number one, there's a premium to be a member, which there's a premium everywhere, but the premiums I find to be slightly elevated, but it's worth it because these are people who are truly, truly committed, and you're getting exposed to people who are going to give you grants for your business, people who have services that maybe you're not aware of. There's so many resources out there for our business, small business owners.
Yeah.
And a lot of those resources either go untouched or unchallenged. You have one person that raised their hand, and that
So even the opt-in, because you pay to be in the chamber.
Yeah,
of commerce
you pay to be in the
there's
chamber of
even
commerce.
little participation after people pay. That's so
Exactly.
funny. So that's one that you use. or
that's
that you're
one
in,
that I
you're in.
actually, definitely have seen resolve.
That's so
with.
interesting. You're the second person to mention that to me, and
Look
I've always heard about the chamber. Obviously, heard and know about it, and I never really considered like doing it. And now
Yeah.
you're the second person, because I'm in a networking group, a couple networking groups, but I hadn't joined the Chamber of Commerce, and now you're the second person. Now I'm like,
Maybe take a
wondering, I'm
visit.
missing something. Yeah. How does that work though? You just go in, and it's like, is it regular meetings, or you're just a
They
membership?
have all kinds of things all throughout the community.
Nice. Like
a lot
different
of
events.
Different events,
Wow.
all kinds of things. You'll see new businesses because there's again, it's mostly comprised of small business owners. There
Sure.
are some large corporations that partake as well, but you'll see some small businesses is probably the biggest bucket. And in that big bucket of small businesses, you'll have maybe a restaurant. And that restaurant will be like, hey, for all of our members who want to come out, come have lunch at our restaurant so you can get to know our food and so on and so forth. And of course, network at the same time.
Nice.
So it's a great opportunity to see other places and meet other business owners who are just as like hungry and ready to like make moves in the community. But at the same time, you're going there with people who actually are serious. Because I find that a lot of the networking of like groups, at least in my space, I can only speak for in the wedding space, a lot of times it's just freebie hunting, where's the next drink gonna be? Where's the next like hangout? The clicks.
Yeah,
Because Miami, gotta
it's
love
all
my
about
city.
it.
I'm born
Yeah.
and raised in Miami, but
Yeah, me
we
too.
are cliquey. So
Yeah.
it's hard to penetrate
Break
those
in,
clicks,
right.
and you'll end up talking to the same maybe two people, or maybe even just the same. I've seen people come and go with the same people that they got there with.
Wow.
And that's sad because that's not what you got there for. You
Yeah.
came to make relationships and to build those bonds that are gonna like help each other grow. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So I saw none of that in my experiences
chamber.
with the chamber.
Nice.
Yeah.
I gotta look into that. I'm now you're making me very interested. So
Yeah.
so let's talk about that experiences with the C-suite execs. I'm always very interested to know how they operate. So one of the questions I had for you was, what are some of the things that you as a, I mean, you're taking that experience, right? So you have a leg up.
Yeah.
But what are some things that you've seen different maybe small businesses owners make compared to what the C levels do? Like how they operate at a higher level, right?
They
so
do.
so what are some things that you see that,
Yeah.
you know, small business owners miss?
Absolutely. I've been supporting C-suite for 26 years. And working with the C-suite, one of the main things that I've always noticed that stays consistent is the viability of their time is like you wouldn't imagine. So being able to get to a space, do what they have to do, be out by the time that they plan to be out by. Of course, some people have more wiggle room than
Sure.
others, but essentially time is money.
Yeah.
And they're very strict about that with their time planning, even their time planning and commuting. Your commuting time, that's an opportunity to either build a relationship, build a sale, that depending on what market you're in. So that my car time, I use that a lot. My car is my second office.
Yeah, yeah.
If I'm
Yeah, man.
commuting somewhere, you best believe I'm on the phone with someone.
Right.
And because it's time that you can maximize it.
Right.
You know, anything that there's a maximizing opportunity, there's a reason for it. Go for it. Use it. At the gym, if I'm at the gym, I'm reading some, self-help or
Yeah.
something that's going to help me with my growth of my business, or even listening, because the educational aspect is really important as well.
Right.
You know, a lot of people feel like I've made it, I don't have to do anything. It's like, yeah, it doesn't work like
Never
that.
stop learning.
You never stop learning.
Yeah.
So they also incorporate education. I have not worked for an executive who does not continue to evolve and, educate themselves on ways to improve whatever, whether it be, how to deal with people, how to find time management, whatever. But there's always better and bigger ways to do things, and they're always maximizing on that.
Yeah.
So the relationship building, and also going back to the networking thing, I call it roulette. Like, you go through the contact list and be like, that guy, I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah.
Let me send them an email and say, let's have lunch. I would just want to catch up. How's
Yeah.
life? And that saved you spending an hour or two again at an event that maybe, and a membership fee.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. So
yeah.
because it's so interesting to get into the heads of them, because from what you're saying, it really is just, it's almost a lifestyle.
It is.
It really is a lifestyle that
great
you
point.
live. You live as an executive.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing stuff like that, it's not even something where it's like targets. And, some people in the sales realm, like it's all like kind of target based, and your metric, how many dials have you hit for the day? Like, the churn and burn cold callers for different industries that have that, as a lead gen source. It's interesting that at the executive level, at least, it's way more just like, hey, it's almost like, who's the one person?
Yes.
Who's the one, instead of who are the thousands of dials
tons.
that I need to make, it's like, who's the one person that I need to speak to?
Correct.
Yeah. I'm reading, I forget the name. I can pull it up. Dead Airspace for 1 second. I'm going to just pull up the name.
Yeah.
Because I'm literally listening to an audiobook about this.
Oh, good. Share it,
and I'm going to
please.
share it, yes. I'm going to tell you. It's called The Science of Scaling. Yes. By
I've heard
Dr.
this
Benjamin
topic.
Hardy and Blake Erickson.
Okay.
I just started it, but literally, like, kind of the main thesis is complicated systems in business, or in general, really, but complicated systems can't scale. Right? So it's really only like very simple systems are scalable, and then it becomes complicated.
Yeah.
But if you think of like any of the top businesses that ever started, now they do a bunch of different things, but it was like Amazon just sold books.
You see?
They just sold books.
That's it.
That was just books. And now they have robots.
That's
like,
how it is.
how did you go there? But they started with that. So it's very interesting. I think it's in line with how these executives operate.
Totally.
They're not very, I don't want to say they're not sophisticated, but because they are, but they're kind of just down the line.
It's very strategic. Even the personal relationships are very strategic. So if you want to go ahead, the way they look at things is very much of the sense of, how could this help me in the future? I myself am a project manager, so I'm certified as a project manager, and that's something that I also kind of intertwine into everything. So I treat everything like a project. My life is a project.
Hey, amen.
Everything's a project.
Yeah.
And because of that, I kind of understand their mentality and the ins and outs of how they look at things, because one of the first things they teach you in project management is to make sure that you understand who is the person that is going to create, the noise in the organization. So if I came in and I wanted to change your entire business model, and you have, I don't know, 20 employees, the first thing I'm going to come in and I'm going to see, okay, who's the one that has the influence here? Who's the person that actually, because I can convince you all day, you're the CEO, and you're like, let's do it. And you have that one person that's the champion of the people that's going to
Against it,
say
yeah.
it and
Yeah,
be
correct,
like,
yeah.
I don't get it and
That's
I don't
very
like
true.
it. And everyone's mindset will shift in that direction. It doesn't matter that you're the CEO. So I feel that a lot of these one-on-one connections that the executives, that I've supported over the years have, a lot of those connections come from wanting to make sure that they know who are the people that can influence something. And if you can influence something, is it something that can serve me? And maybe we can serve each other. Because you have to give some too. So maybe you might have something that person can benefit from. But yes, the relationships are all about servicing, building resiliency for one another, and finding, outlets to continue to grow in that same market, in that
Right.
same space. So
Interesting.
influence is huge.
Yeah, and you mentioned that last part is very interesting as well with respect to kind of leading and managing people, because like you said, it could be that person that is a quote unquote subordinate, but really
They're the
there's
ones
a lot of
running
the
the show.
times in a lot of businesses that's the case.
Yep.
The main guy is kind of just the signature on stuff,
Exactly.
but there's the influencers play a lot of role into that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So working with these C-level execs, I feel like that's like a really good easy introduction into kind of this new service that you're
It
doing and this new,
is.
right? So have you started leveraging those existing relationships
I
as well?
have.
Yeah,
I have.
of course.
This is like
Nice.
my career with the executives has been like my master class in how
Well, how to
I
spin it all
operate,
together, like what a
right?
nice like full circle. I mean, that's so like perfect.
It's been wonderful.
Obviously not intentional.
No,
There's
not
no way you
intentional.
could have spun that.
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. But it's just,
But now
that's
you're
just the way God designed it. It was great.
Let me ask you, how did you, because it's always fun if you were you in touch with these people over the years still, and kind of
Yes.
here and there, like obviously
I've
not
lost
everyone.
some.
Yeah, of course, people fall off, but
Yeah.
you've kept those kind of
shout out to LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn. Oh, I love LinkedIn. It's actually like my main platform, honestly.
Good.
I try and stay off. I mean, for posting wise, I stay everywhere. I'm more of a proponent of like kind of just be what is it, omnipresent.
Yes,
So I try and do that,
yes.
but personally, like I try and stay, like if I'm gonna be browsing, try and stay on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn has like if you
Good stuff.
if you curate for your lane, like you're saying,
Uh-huh.
talking like about like continued education and all that, always learning, like there's a lot on LinkedIn that you
There's
can get.
so much.
There's a lot of activity too. A lot of people are
Yes.
active on there.
There's so much. I mean, you can
Yeah.
get the same feels that you get from the social media world if you curate it properly,
Yeah.
like you said. You can get that out of LinkedIn.
Right, and there's the networking element.
Exactly.
Because I feel like the people on there, I haven't read anything about this, so there's no stats that I could possibly prove this with, but I feel like it's almost like same person, but different persona logged on to that platform, right?
Yes,
So like when you
yes.
log on to LinkedIn, you're in a
Switch.
different mental space than you are when you're maybe scrolling through YouTube,
That's so true.
looking right, versus when you're on it's like a social psychology thing that I think is very
Yeah.
interesting. I've always looked into that.
That's really true. Yeah, I hadn't looked at it that way, but that
You
makes
know?
perfect sense.
So it's almost like getting, like to your point as well earlier, getting in front, meeting them where they are.
Exactly.
It's almost like that too. You could tailor it by platform,
Mm-hmm.
kind of where are they at. They're almost everywhere, but like where are they at on that platform?
Right.
That's pretty cool. I like
And
that.
you can also see the groups that they're involved in. Sometimes
Right.
you have common.
Yeah.
I was helping a nonprofit for a while that was in the golf space. So I come in as the biggest golf rookie in the world. And I was like, well, who's into golf? I have a lot of connections within the executive space and a lot of connections within leadership. I obviously heard a lot of terminology around golf, but I don't know who does it. You can see that right there.
Yeah.
So build on that.
Right.
You know, there's sparks everywhere. It's just you have to look for them.
Yeah,
The
right.
sparks are already there.
I want to ask you, kind of closing it out now, wanted to just kind of get your feel on. I always ask entrepreneurs because I feel like it's like when you go on social, especially, everyone's always posting like the wins,
Yes.
right? Let's talk about how to get through the tougher days or the days where you, let's say, not in your case per se, but like you lose an account or you know just the days where things aren't really clicking. How have you kind of pushed through, and what are some insights on that side of
That
things?
is a great question. So I recently was reading a book called, a total plug on the book, but Strength Through Strength, Arthur Brooks.
Okay.
So one of the things he talks about, he's a master of happiness. He teaches happiness and don't quote me on this, but it could be Harvard or Yale, one of the two. But there's
was
a
not
course.
what I was expecting you to say. I was
There's
like, he
a
teaches
course.
happiness online, like on a
Yeah.
wow, no, okay, like
There's
a legit
course
university.
on
Wow.
how to be happy.
Wow,
right?
interesting.
And I was fascinated by the topic because I was like, people need to be taught how to be happy.
Yeah.
But in this day and age, we do. And one of the things that he mentions is having your pillars. That's the one thing that he's in his studies over the years. There's pillars of strength that allow you to be happy. He says those pillars are friendships, family, your relationships, and your faith. So if all those four things are being fed at all times, you're going to find some source of happiness, guaranteed. It doesn't matter if it's financial or whatever. Like if those four things are solid, or if you can invest your time in making sure that those four things are solid, everything's going to be great. You'll be fine. You'll be fulfilled as a human being.
Give me the four again.
It's family, friendships, relationships, like your relationship with your significant other,
Sure.
and then also your faith. So if you have carried all four of those buckets, you're happier than most people on this planet.
Yeah. Cards on the table. The reason I asked you to say the four again because I wasn't sure
Yeah.
if you had said it. Cards on the table. Speaking to my own psychology, I'm like, man, like financial. It's
in
interesting.
there.
There's no reference to
Nope.
financial. There's no because those are really the four
Those are the four.
that matter.
And we get so consumed in the financial, we get consumed in the
career.
status.
Yeah, I thought I'd heard maybe like a career set. No, nothing. It's
Nope.
just
None of that.
I like that.
It's like that's all it takes to be
Wow.
happy. So
That's
it
true.
kind of redirected my thought process on like, the things that really matter. And we know this
Yeah,
innately.
yeah.
We
it
know this.
took me like a second, like, yeah, that sounds
Like,
very
you're
true.
like, I know that,
Yeah.
But we kind of get lost in the sauce, and
Mm-hmm.
then next thing you know, we're kind of deviating away from that. So
Right.
I think finding that grounding, and when I heard it and I heard the methodology behind it and the science behind it, it's like, this makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
We've known this all along.
Yeah. So you kind of optimize for those.
I
And
optimize
for
those.
you find that everything kind of falls in.
Everything falls into place. It's so bizarre, but it just
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, and a large part of it too, and especially like now you have such great of a referral base, so you probably don't worry about it so much. But I'm sure in the beginning, getting those first few clients can be stressful, right? So I feel like for that, you almost like you got to just show up every day,
That's right.
and just
I
whether
made
you
my first client. You want to know where?
Please.
In the bathroom.
No way. No way. Tell please. Yeah, we're gonna have. Yeah, that will have to be the story. Tell me. Please.
I went to a bridal show because I just wanted to see what's popping, what's the latest trends. It was a really beautiful bridal show, a location that's not around anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And they showcase, the best of the best. And this is me, absolutely clueless. I didn't go to school to be a wedding planner. I'm just somebody who loves pretty things.
Yeah.
And I am in the bathroom and I'm just washing my hands, talking to a young lady next to me. And she's like, oh, what do you do? Small talk, when are you getting married? And I was like, actually, I'm not getting married. I'm starting a wedding planning business. And I'm just trying to see, like, what are people doing? What are people excited about? And she's like, I need a wedding planner. What's your plan? And we start talking or whatever. That was my first client.
Wow. Damn. Look at that.
Yeah. And my first penned client, that again, relationships is everything. I met a caterer and I was in my corporate space. She catered for my office and she's like, we're talking and she's like, you're really good at this. And I was like, oh yeah, I've been hearing that all my life. Like I really like things in order. I like look presentation experience is big for me. And she's like, you really should go into this. I said, I've thought about it. She's like, really? And what would you do? I was like, weddings. I really like weddings. Oh, okay. She calls me like 3 days later. She's like, I have a client for you, and she needs a wedding planner. It's a high-end wedding. It's a Jewish wedding. I've never attended a Jewish wedding a day in my life. She's like, get your business cards and get your tush over here at, this location at this time tonight and meet my client. I'm catering for her, and she just needs somebody to give her vision. And I'm like, I don't even have business cards. I just told you that was a dream of mine. She's like, well, there's a thing called Kinko's. Go get
you better
some.
go print some quick thing out. You just need the one.
Yeah. Sometimes, if you try, fate will find you there.
Yeah, truly.
It's just a matter of having that initiative.
You mentioned,
I think.
So you mentioned the Jewish wedding. I have to ask, have you ever done an Indian wedding?
I have.
How crazy are those things?
Two.
They party for like 7 days, right?
So this one was a reduced version because they were mixed faith.
Okay.
So the groom was Christian and the bride was Hindu. And it was here in Miami Beach. Beautiful wedding.
Yeah.
So they had a Catholic, it was a long wedding.
Yeah.
The actual day of the wedding was 10 hours long. And they started in the morning with their Catholic wedding in the cathedral and then transitioned to the traditional Hindu wedding in the afternoon.
Right.
10 hours, those guests were pooped.
Dude.
But prior to that, I had done 4 days worth of events for her. So yeah, it was intense.
I don't know. I don't remember how old I was or when I heard that. But when I found out that's how like Indian weddings are and the parties felt days on end, I'm like, wow, that is like so cool.
So
and I'm like,
cool.
I think about it now. I'm a little bit older. I'm like, I don't think I could hang.
So cool.
I don't think I'd be able to hang out though. Like I think I'd maybe 1 or 2 days and then
Oh
I'd be
my
like,
gosh, I know.
I
Just
don't
the
know how you
day.
guys do. Yeah, honestly, after the first day, I'd be like, I'm ready
I'm
to.
tired.
Yeah,
Send a
doing this like,
replacement.
how
I
many
don't
more
know.
days do you have of this, dude? Oh,
Can I
man.
Zoom
Yeah.
at my wedding?
Catch you on the flight. Oh, Anya, this has been amazing. Anya,
It really
I'm gonna open
has,
up the
Chris.
floor to you. Please, whichever camera you want. You came correct today. You brought your phone.
I brought
you got,
my little
So
phone.
whichever camera you like,
This
please.
is a very memorable moment for me.
Tell
You're
the
my
people.
very first.
Tell
so
the
I'm
people how they
excited.
can find you.
Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this wonderful conversation that we've had. But if you're interested in learning more, my wedding business is Events by Annya. And I'm located on Instagram, so under the same handle, Events by Annya. The rebrand that we were talking about in reference to moving over to open speaking and engagement and so on is the Annya Experience. So I mentioned I love experience, so everything to me is an experience. The Annya Experience, and that's also available on Instagram as well. You can follow either website, anyaexperience.com or eventsbyanya.com. And it's been a pleasure.
I love it. I love it. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Anya, we'll have to have you on back
Yes,
next
I
time.
would
Let's
love
circle
to.
back on this.
Anytime.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, guys. See you next one.